Hello, welcome back to the channel. It is the weekly update of what I've been reading and watching for the past week. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Zach. This channel is mostly science fiction and fantasy book reviews, but once a week it's time for everything else besides books, but also including books that I've been consuming content-wise for the past week. And to start things off, because today is December 1st, it is the first full day of the Audible site-wide sale. I am an almost exclusively audiobook listener, but yes, of course, I grew up on regular paperback books back in the day, but I love myself some audiobooks. Can't get enough of them and usually use, yes, Audible in addition to my local library. But the yearly Cyber Monday / Black Friday, but yes, it's Cyber Monday today, December 1st. Sale is a great way to stock up. And I still, yes, have a few books from last year's site-wide sale sitting in my Audible library to get around to reading, like heavy hitters like Dungeon Crawler Carl, The Sword of Kaigen still sitting in my queue, but not going to let a good sale go to waste. There are a ton of books to check out. I did do a separate video yesterday to try and catch that early bird reminder, but to reiterate here, these are the books that I just purchased earlier today on the Audible site-wide sale. That is the entire Red Rising series, books 1 through 6 by Pierce Brown. They're all about $3. Great deal. I also bought the first 6 book of the Sun Eater saga by Christopher Ruocchio. They're also only about $3-4 each. So great reads, two giants in the epic fantasy, sci-fi fantasy genre. The only one that's not on sale is the latest Shadows Upon Time by Chris Ruocchio. So if you're looking to get into Red Rising or Sun Eater, this is the time to do it. That's what I'm making the commitment to. I'm already on book 2 of Sun Eater, loving it so much so far. And Red Rising, I'm giving a second shot and buying the entire series to finish it. Some other series that I purchased and would recommend to check out: Terra Ignota by Ada Palmer. It's a sci-fi fantasy series in the vein of for fans of books like Book of the New Sun or Sun Eater. It has that unreliable narrator, science fiction, fantasy kind of blend mystery. I only read a little bit of it, but had to pause my library hold because I had a couple other books I think come available. So by buying it, yes, I can have unlimited time to enjoy it. So that is Terra Ignota. The first book is Too Like the Lightning by Ada Palmer. Other books on the horizon: Mercy of the Gods, the first book of the new series by James S.A. Corey, a sci-fi series from the writers of The Expanse, which I'm currently reading and loving. So good chance to check out the first book of Mercy of the Gods, the new series. Rendezvous with Rama by Arthur C. Clarke, the classic that is slated to be adapted by Denis Villeneuve of Dune fame. Yes, of Dune, the movies over here on the poster. But yeah, that's only $7, so almost the price of a credit. 1-800 Starship by JN Chaney, prolific writer of a bunch of different, usually sci-fi action series. This one sounds cool. It was only $4, $4.75. It's about a kind of a last starfighter, the movie. So a kid, I think he's a kid, gets recruited to join a actual space armada by playing a video game. So kind of a nostalgia hit, just a fun beach read. Dying Earth series. Oh, actually, The Dying Earth, the first book of the Dying Earth series by Jack Vance, is only $5.80. Another classic for fans of Book of the New Sun, like myself. And some books that I've already read or read through the library. The Failures by Benjamin Lyer. This was a really fun, interesting new read for me. It's a new reader, new author. So this is the first book of the Wonderland series. Also kind of a sci-fi genre where there's some technology, some magic, technology as magic in a fantasy, almost isekai, which is like a portal fantasy genre setting between worlds, and it's got a kind of like anime influences. So really cool. Enjoying the first book of that series, The Wonderlands, and waiting for Benjamin Lyer to write more of that series. The Elric of Melnibone, the first book of that is only $3.73 as well. This is another classic that I read growing up in high school by Michael Moorcock, about an albino swordsman with a sword that can steal souls. Stormbringer. So it's another just classic. Not sure if the writing holds up. I do want to reread it, so this is the chance for only $4. Speaking of the Expanse, when I was looking at the sale, not every book in the Expanse is on sale. Actually, only books 7, 8, and 9 are about $4. The first 6 are like $20 a piece. So this is one of those weird sale items where for some reason only 3 books of the series are on sale. So if you're like me, I've been reading through the library. So I'm on book 6. So I still need to check out book 6 from the library, but 7, 8, 9 are only $4. So that's, I'm debating whether I should continue library or, only $4, but I've read the rest of the series to the library. So it feels a little weird to only own the final 3 books and not the other first 6. And lastly, some other last 2 books that are late editions, because I was reading a Reddit post earlier today. Daniel Abraham. So Daniel Abraham is half of James S.A. Corey, which is the pen name of 2 authors, the writers of The Expanse. So Daniel Abraham, his solo series is a fantasy series, long price quartet, and it's only $2.65 each. So the writing is supposedly really good. It's from the author of The Expanse. The Reddit thread I was reading earlier today mentioned that it's has that same addictive reading quality that The Expanse does. So if you're a fan of The Expanse and maybe want something a little more on the fantasy side with an author who is a mentee of George R. R. Martin, so one of the heirs to the Martin legacy. So worth maybe checking out Long Price Quartet for only $3. And lastly, Realm of the Elderlings by Robin Hobb, the Farseer books. The first 6 are only $3 each. I tried the first book, didn't really get into the first book, a little slow start. So maybe not for you, not for me at least, but it is a really highly regarded series, especially online. I hear about Farseer and Realm of the Elderlings all the time, so it could be a good fit for someone else. So do check out the Audible site-wide sale. That is my little quick disclaimer. You have a week to take advantage of the sale, so sign up and pick up some books down your list. And now to circle back to actually what I have been reading. I haven't just been shopping. So what I'm currently reading and in the middle of is, as I mentioned, book 2 of The Sun Eater by Chris Ruocchio, Howling Dark. As of right now, I'm about 40% because I was reading it earlier before recording this video. Really, really enjoying the continuing adventures of Hadrian Marlowe and his crew in the Sun Eater series. It's just very expansive, very fantastic in a way, like a fantasy series, because they're traveling, they're meeting new cultures, new civilizations, but it's in space. So they're traversing through space, not on like a ship, but it's just great. It's really engaging. I love seeing these new worlds. There's like a mystery kind of thing driving it. There's a conflict driving it with these aliens. So there's a lot going on, a lot of things to latch onto. And for fans of Dune, for fans of Book of the New Sun, there's a lot of influences you can see in the story, but so far it's really great. Really love how the Ruocchio is just blending all these favorites of myself together to create something really cool and special. And what I've paused because I had it through Audible is Memories of Ice, which is Malazan, Book of the Fallen, Book 3. I'm still paused at 70%, but because I got my hold for Sun Eater, which came through, but now that I own Sun Eater, so I guess I can pause Sun Eater at any time to read the next book, but I'm still stuck on Memories of Ice, Malazan, Book 3, because I paused it for library, but then I picked up Sun Eater, books 1 through 6. So I do own Howling Dark, but I think I'm just going to power through and finish Howling Dark. And because I'm in the middle of the story and loving it, then get back and finish up Memories of Ice. And then it's whatever comes available at the library, or yes, now my queue from Audible is super long. So that's what's on the horizon, what I'm currently reading. And now looking backwards at what retroactively what I read this week. Um, Even with the holidays, with Thanksgiving, I had a lot of time to listen to audiobooks while cooking, cleaning, normal kind of weekend activities. But the book I finished, the monster of the book, is Lonesome Dove by Larry McMurtry. So this book, it's talked about online as one of the great, fiction stories of our time. It's just a classic. It's a Pulitzer Prize winning novel. And It's super long. It's like 40 hours almost. So it's epic fantasy. And there's something about it. It's something about it that the characters just, you feel a real connection to the characters. By the end of it, I felt for all the characters. They all are so fleshed out. I didn't really understand what they meant when I was reading reviews or people talking about why I should read Lonesome Dove. And yes, I just gave in to sort of the hype and seeing it recommended so many times on Reddit, usually not on sci-fi fantasy subreddits, but it is there, but also on just the general broader book subreddits that I read, like Suggest a Book or Books. There's a couple just regular reading subreddits that I just browse for inspiration and see what people are talking about. And Lonesome Dove constantly comes up as best books that people have ever read. It comes up on our fantasy from time to time. So even if you're just a fan of fantasy, you may enjoy this. And I enjoyed it, even though there wasn't like a battle between emperors. They're not fighting a dragon or saving a princess or traveling to faraway lands. Well, they sort of are traveling. They're traveling from like Texas to Montana. So there is, I guess, a journey, a quest that they're on in a sense. They're doing this cattle drive because it's set in the 1800s. They're in the Old West, which is, yes, not my normal genre, Westerns to read about the Old West, but just something about the characters. So once I push through the first couple chapters where they're just kind of hanging out at Lonesome Dove, you're kind of getting introduced to the world. Once the cattle drive begins, just the characters, you just grow so endeared to them. Every character, not just the hat company that that the main kind of core group of Call and Gus and everyone in the main cattle company, but everyone they meet is so fleshed out, from the saloons, from the prostitutes, when they're going for a poke, when there's just so much, every character they meet, all the women. So these women that work in, yes, like they work as prostitutes. This is 1800s, not a lot of jobs for women. Even the women are all strong women, not these one-dimensional characters that are rough and tough hero cowboys meet and interact with and are done with. So I think that's maybe why they won the Pulitzer, because the character work is just so rich, especially for the time. It's probably, I mean, now it's a little bit more acceptable. That's the way things are. Characters are fleshed out, but maybe not, 40 years ago, we had these well-developed female characters in a story about kind of macho cowboys. So it was maybe a breath of fresh air, and it holds up. Yeah, even by 2025 standards, the standards of character work are applicable. And yes, this is the 40th anniversary edition. So I initially had started the original audiobook, voiced by an actor that was in Westerns, and he has a very mouthy Western cowboy speaking tone, not like a professional narrator. So there's a lot of so there's a lot of, like voice, and he's sucking on the wind, and you hear it in the recording, and it was very distracting, and it pulled me out of the audiobook. But the new 40th anniversary edition is narrated by Will Patton, who has done a ton of audiobooks. So he's a well practiced performer. He does a great performance of all the characters in Lonesome Dove. So highly, highly, highly recommend finding either the 40th anniversary edition through Audible, or yes, our local library finally got the 40th anniversary edition as well. So once that came through, yes, I put a hold as soon as available in the catalog and got an early, one of the first releases or first holds on the 40th anniversary audiobook. So yeah, that's what I read and what I'm currently reading. And to look back, because it's already, yes, December 1st. So what I read this past month, and just a quick rundown, I read Letter from Japan by Marie Kondo. This was just Marie Kondo of tidying up, the art of tidying up. So if you're into Marie Kondo, her Netflix series, this is like her autobiography almost, in a way, where she just talks about life during the filming the Netflix series and life afterwards. But it's also more about Japanese culture and how that shaped her and informed kind of her life. So it's a bit of like a history, cultural lesson about Japan, about Japanese culture and customs, and how they kind of intertwine to make Marie Kondo who she is, and how she kind of sees the world. So it's interesting, kind of, biographical, but also self-helpy. Not self-help in the sense that it's just like, yeah, here's some wisdom, I guess, cultural wisdom. But anyways, it was a short read. It was good. Other books I read was Gunmetal Gods by Zamil Akhtar. This one I am very excited. I haven't recorded a review yet, but I'm very excited to talk about it. I thought it was really interesting. It's like a Middle Eastern fantasy setting. Was crazy. It was a very crazy start to the series. I saw it on Reddit, of course, that someone praising Gunmetal Gods, that why isn't it talked about more? It's this Middle Eastern inspired story where it's all based on the kind of our world, but of course changed in this, and it has kind of gods interfering in the lives of humans, and what we know as like gods and angels are kind of the biblical sense of gods and angels, where it's not like angels with wings and happy days. These are like Eldritch horror monsters. So it's sort of a spoiler, but it's on the back of the cover, so it's not really a spoiler. But yes, there's Eldritch, like like HP Lovecraft style gods are in the story, and they play a part of everyday lives of the people. And during the first book, we already like kind of see them, and they cause like the people seeing them to have issues with their just seeing like these eldritch horrors. And it's really interesting. It's a really interesting world building. But at the end of the book, we start seeing like sort of like a power system that's not really a power system. It's weird to describe without being spoilery, but it's interesting. I'm really enjoying it and hoping to pick up the rest of the books whenever our library gets books too, because yes, they're not on sale with Audible. So, but it is worth the credit. So Audible price is like $25, but yeah, our local library got eventually book one, and it's worth a good credit from Audible. And what else? Speaking of Audible, yes, this month I read Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, the full cast audio edition from Audible. So this is my first time reading Harry Potter, even though I had seen all the movies. Really, really enjoyed Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, and already pre-ordered with the credit the second book of the Harry Potter new full cast recordings. I highly recommend the full cast recordings. I thought they were super well done. Again, having never read the original or even listened to the original books, I love the sound effects. So because I had the frame reference of the movies, maybe that the sound effects just made it all more real, and it felt like reading a movie in your mind with the sound effects and the characters, and one character speaking in one ear across the table to the character in your other ear, and things like that. It really enhanced it. I've listened to AirPods, using AirPods like I did. It's just super immersive with the Dolby. Yeah, really recommend the full cast audio edition. I thought it was great. And then lastly, yeah, what I already talked about, I also read Lonesome Dove. So only 4 books, but one pretty long one with Lonesome Dove. Gunmetal Gods was rather long, and Harry Potter and Letters from Japan are rather short. And not didn't finish this month, but yes, I'm 70% done with Memories of Ice, which is another long Malazan book. So I guess I read like 4.5 books this month. So that's what I read. And now shifting gears one more time to other media finally. So getting out of the realm of print media and getting into what we watched just this past weekend. It was Thanksgiving weekend, so not a lot of time to watch stuff with just family stuff and cooking and decorating for Christmas and all that with the holidays. But we watched 4 films this weekend. Bugonia with Emma Stone. We watched that, and that was something else. Enjoyed it for sure. It was very interesting. Hard to talk about without spoilers, but the premise is these 2 conspiracy theorists kidnap a CEO because they think she's an alien. So actually, the movie that this is a remake of, Save the Green Planet, I had watched way back in the day in college when I was getting into Asian cinema, and this was one of the films that was available that I watched. Was, heavy watcher. I think I've talked about of Hong Kong cinema. So love that Hong Kong cinema. That's what I grew up on, quote unquote, as my culture of cinema. Living on your own, watching movies. This is, yes, late 90s, early 2000s. So golden age of Hong Kong cinema. And yeah, Save the Green Planet was one of those movies we watched. Barely recommended. I just recommend, or remember, I should say. Yeah, the plot was the same, that it was about conspiracy theorists that think that the CEO is actually an alien, so they captured the CEO. And that's what we see here in Bugonia, the remake of it. It's very timely as well with the whole conspiracy theorists, and our 2 kind of not really the main characters, two of the three main characters, I guess, would call the CEO the third character. They're just in that internet culture, so they're very heavily influenced by online culture, which we see reflective of regular society and things like QAnon and just general conspiracy theory in general on the internet. So it's very timely. It kind of ties in, I feel, to other movies like One Battle After Another, kind of talking about current events, or No Other Choice, the South Korean film by Park Chan-wook. So yeah, I recommend it. I thought it was interesting. It gets a little graphic at times with some of the things that transpire in the movie, but it definitely makes you think, and it has a really interesting ending. And then after that, to cleanse our palate, we watched on Apple TV The Family Plan 2 with Mark Wahlberg. It was a Christmas holiday movie. Low expectations. Don't need to talk about it because it's the same movie you saw before. Somehow, Mark Wahlberg is the everyday family man who's actually a secret spy in his past life, which we've seen, I feel like, half a dozen movies nowadays where the aging actor is now playing the cool dad actor who's actually still has skills. So it's sort of like Taken, or it's sort of like Nobody, or all these movies lately. But anyways, it was just a solid like popcorn put on in the background kind of family holiday movie, which is what it was going for, and so it accomplished that in a way. So it was still all right. Then to switch gears again, what else we watched this weekend was Predator Badlands, which was pretty good, actually. So very surprising. That was actually a good Predator movie for once. The last one where they're on Earth wasn't so bad either. But again, talking about myself as a child of the 80s, growing up in the 90s, yes, we all love Aliens and Predator. So that whole franchise is great. I will always at least try out an Alien or a Predator movie. You can't go wrong with Predator. And now with, of course, special effects getting better and better every year, the Predator faces were actually pretty good. They're unmasked for like the entire movie. So, yeah, lots of action. It's reminds me a lot of my sons when we were watching it, like Monster Hunter, because they're on this Badlands planet fighting monsters as our main character tries to get the kill to prove that he's one of the clan, like you see in Alien versus Predator, things like that. But no, he's not fighting Alien, the xenomorph alien. No, he's just off on this planet trying to find this lionish alien monster thing also, of course, got some references to Weyland Yutani. So it's fun. I thought the action was really good. It was a Predator movie, but yeah, the action and the plot was fine. And then lastly, we watched Mayhem Girls, which is a Japanese movie, which the premise sounded okay. It sounded interesting. It's about a group of high school girls in Japan who gained their superpowers during COVID. So when I was reading the description, I think it was either the same director or based on the Sion film, The Virgin Psychics, which I thought was hilarious. I remember watching that, like, it came out like 10, 15, 20 years ago maybe, but hilarious movie about people getting psychic powers that are virgins. So it's like a comedy psychic. This one also takes a similar formula to that, in the sense that these girls are also teenagers. They get superpowers, but not because of them being virgins. They get powers, I guess, because of COVID or the vaccine or something. It's not really, I guess, clear how they get it. But anyways, the film itself hinges on sort of that high school girl dynamic of kind of catfights and jealousy within other high school girls. And when you have powers, how does that play in the mix, so that they're, getting bullied in school by other girls. So they'll use their psychic powers to kind of flip the situation around and turn the bullying around. And then there's infighting between the girls, and one girl falls in love, and how does that change the dynamic of the group, and as she uses her powers. So it's kind of a high school-ish drama film, but wrapped around the lens of girls with psychic powers. And they end up, yeah, there's it's like battle sequences, and they're teleporting, and they're doing crimes. It's fun, it's lighthearted. It was a good kind of holiday movie. Not like a real message, but felt like it was sort of trying to say something about about COVID, because this takes place during COVID times. Everyone's masked up, but then some of them aren't masked, and they're kind of fighting against the powers to not wear masks, or why aren't you, enforcing the rules unilaterally, things like that. So it's got like a lot to say, but it was still overall a decent movie. I thought it was okay. Some of the special effects, like when they're flying, wasn't the strongest budget, but all the other normal powers, they don't do anything like super crazy other than the flight, which doesn't look the greatest, I admit, for special effects. But the other special effects, like the mind control or teleporting, was easy enough to animate and film. And lastly, to wrap this out, what I really want to talk about was what we spent the most of our winter break or Thanksgiving break watching, and that is Stranger Things Season 5, Part 1, Volume 1. So the first 4 episodes we watched. We watched about, I think, an episode a day. So when they came out on Thanksgiving. Watched like 1, 2, and then 3 and 4 together. But Stranger Things Season 5, it is back. It is better than 4, I guess. I really liked 4. I thought season 4 was pretty good, but we're finally, yes, in the end game of the Stranger Things world. Yes, everyone's been saying it, and I 100% agree. They do not look like kids anymore. It is really stretching my suspension of disbelief as I watch these like 20 and 30-year-olds play teenagers. Like, yeah, Nancy looks a little old for her age. She looked fine in when she was like working at Scoops in Starcourt Mall, but now she definitely looks like an older kid. Will looks really old. He doesn't look like the innocent little boy teenager that he was in the first film. But yeah, Will is like the star of the first volume so far. He gets a lot more screen time. A lot goes on with Will's plot being very vague, but I think everyone has started to see who's, at least they kind of know who's important. Well, they're all kind of really important. It's back to focusing on our core members. Eleven's off doing her thing. With Hopper, they're in the Upside Down. They're on this like guerrilla warfare against the military in the Upside Down. Haven't, they're fighting Vecna. Haven't really seen what the plan is really. Like, there's some vague things that are happening. You can kind of see where this is going at the end of episode 4, as we head into, I guess, volume 2 next month for Christmas. But overall, really enjoying it. I thought it was fun. Actors aside, and it's not the actors' fault for who they are. Like the dynamic between Dustin and Steve. Yeah, I love those characters, but they're really like fighting. And I know it's not their acting; it's how it's written. So I wish we cleared that up. I wish we had some of this Dustin character. He's not my favorite this season because he's still hung up on the Eddie stuff, and he's just very like lashing out. At least I'm sure his character, not the actor, but the character of Dustin is lashing out. And I don't really like the way he's written so far, but I have hope. I'm, hoping that for a finale that they're going to tie it all up, that all these loose ends, we're going to see some character development, some characters come around, some, finish off all these storylines that are starting to bloom here with Max and everything else that's happening in season 5, all the cliffhangers from season 4, not cliffhangers, but unresolved plot points from season 4, I think are slowly reaching a conclusion here in season 5. But yeah, enjoying it so far. I think it's of course, it's Netflix, so it's Stranger Things. It's worth a watch. We've been with these kids for over 10 years. My son started watching it when he was this big, and now he's this big. So we're going to watch it together as a family and finish it. But recommend Stranger Things. Having a pretty good time, and can't wait for volume 2 of season 5. So that's what we're watching. Last reminder to get on that Audible sale. Do check out the books that I mentioned. I'll put it in the comments, I guess, as well. And if you have any recommendations, again, for things I may have missed in the Audible sale, things to check out, leave those below. Or also, as always, movies or TV shows to check out. So thanks for watching this weekly/monthly recap, and have a great day, have a great week, and happy holidays.